Thanks for dropping in, friends. Great to have you with us on a Wednesday program, middle of the week, as some people call it, Hump Day, here on TNT, as we have a bit of a quick whip around the main stories in Thailand. We head first to, here it comes, bang, to the Bangkok Post with the headline, Wealthy Americans, Chinese, top list of new Thai visa applicants. Now, these new visas, there were 4 new visas introduced at the start of September. They're called the long-term resident visas, and they give people opportunities to work and to live here in Thailand, but there is a price attached. We go to the story, and the first line, I think, says it all. Whilst not exactly the rush it was hoping for, says the Bangkok Post, who's been paid quite a lot of money to promote this scheme from the Board of Investment, Thailand is seeing applicants trickle in for its new visa program targeted at rich foreigners, with officials viewing it as a sign of more to come. Certainly this is going to be an attractive visa for a lot of people who are trying to look for a new life in a new country, but it does come with the high price tag, and I think a lot of people, probably myself included, are looking at this thinking, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to meet those criteria. But anyway, to the story, and it says around 400 people so far have sought the visa within the first 12 days of it being rolled out, with pensioners making up for 40% of the applicants. So these are people who may have in the past applied for the O or OA visas, better known as the retirement visas. And so these are people with quite a bit of money able to invest in Thailand in stocks and bonds or property and get the opportunity to stay here. The thing is with this particular long-term resident visas is that they're for up to 10 years. There's no 30-day reporting, and there's also quite a few other waivers in there that make them attractive. And down the bottom of that page, the program is being promoted not just to foreigners outside Thailand, but to the estimated 300,000 expats already living in the country using other permits. And that, of course, is a lucrative market because there are a lot of people who may think that the opportunity to have a 10-year visa, a 10-year tenure in the country rather than just a year at a time, is something that they've been looking for. To the next page, and the first paragraph there, the visa program seeks to build on post-pandemic efforts to welcome back visitors to the Southeast Asian nation, where tourism accounts for some 12% of GDP, and the program grants visitors a 10-year renewable multi-entry visa, and the holders have permission to work, and that's an important thing. They're eligible for tax breaks and a 17% ceiling on personal income tax. So that visa is certainly going to be attractive to the people who want a longer tenure here in Thailand, a little bit more security and certainty, rather than fronting up to immigration, well, not only every 90 days for a report, but also having to renew their visas every year. This is the TNT program. It's Wednesday, and we'd like to thank and acknowledge our sponsor, 5 Star Marine, and there's a link to them if you'd like to see some of the beautiful islands you can visit with them at the bottom of the video description under this video. Well, Thailand's hotel operators are pointing to high inflation around the world as a reason for low tourist numbers and a lack of spending by the ones that are already here in Thailand. A survey by the Thai Hotels Association indicates that 62% of respondents worry that inflation is limiting purchasing power of tourists, whilst 61% say they're concerned by the lower than expected numbers of foreign arrivals. The poll surveyed 106 hotel operators in the third week of August around Thailand. Other concerns include a shortage of hotel workers, 43%, new COVID-19 outbreaks, 40%, businesses not fully opened, 19%, the currency exchange rate, 18%, the Thai interest rate, 18%, monkeypox outbreak, 11%, the China-Taiwan tensions, 6%. On a positive note, the THA noted the extension of the Visa on Arrival program from 15 to 30 days or 30 to 45 days for the visa exemption program that's applicable to 64 countries. The new extension started on October the 1st and run up to the end of March next year. It may be extended past that date. We'll have to wait and see. The THA also hope that the new 10-year long-term resident visa should lure more high-spending foreigners, although we imagine most of those won't be staying in hotels. The THA notes that Thai hotel operators are also facing their own rising food and energy costs, with the Thai minimum wage increases cutting into their profits. The THA claims the average occupancy rate in August was around 47.5%. That's up 2.5% from July, noting that a large proportion of properties are still closed and that tourist arrivals are still well below 20% of the 2019 average. I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. That really helps us build up our YouTube audience. And we now go to our next story. And this particular gentleman, his name is Daniel Grant, and he's been taking advantage of the flooding in Bangkok in a way that some of us haven't. Wakeboarding. Not exactly sure how he's being... not exactly sure how he's being towed or what is towing him, whether it's a motorbike or a pickup or something. Anyway, that's Daniel Grant. Now, the Tiger reports that he was summoned to the police station yesterday to acknowledge the allegations made against him by police after they saw his video, which went viral on social media. Well, of course it did. And some good news and bad news for Daniel. The second line here, many netizens showed their support for Daniel's ability to ride the waves on the flooded Pahonyotan Road outside Bangkok University. Yay! But other netizens criticised Daniel for playing in the flood, saying he was causing danger to himself and others on the road. And Daniel visited the station with his mother, and the last line there on the Tiger story, he said he wouldn't have done it if he knew it was a criminal offence. Will he pay a fine? Will he have to go to court? Looks to me like he was having a bit of fun, perhaps slightly irresponsible, but I think he's bringing attention to the floods in Bangkok, and that can probably only be a good thing. And to our next story today, also from the Bangkok Post, Cabinet approves energy support wage hikes, and the Cabinet yesterday agreed to extend a diesel tax cut for 2 months and extend an electricity subsidy until December to mitigate the impact of high energy prices. Now, this has been a project by the Thai government to sort of suppress the impact of inflation. And if they can control the energy prices, the electric, like things like electricity, and the diesel prices, diesel trucks being still the main way that things are delivered around the country, they've actually done quite a lot to suppress the worst of the immediate impacts of inflation in Thailand. Now, of course, it's costing the government quite a lot of money, and at the end of the day, the taxpayers are paying for it. But as far as what they're paying out of their pockets on a day-to-day basis, they're going to be better off with this particular tack that the government's taking. I applaud them for keeping the diesel prices down. It has been very effective at keeping things like a lot of food prices down. The second paragraph there, the Cabinet approved extending the excise tax rebate of 5 baht per litre on retail diesel prices, and that's going to go until November the 20th, and it's costing the government about 20 billion baht in lost revenue. And just down the bottom of that article, if we allow domestic prices to rise in line with global oil prices, it will raise the cost of living, which will hinder the economic recovery. Now, luckily, the Thai government's got quite a lot of cash in the bank, and it can afford these subsidies at this time. And as I said, it is certainly, because I have to go out shopping like most of you every week, noticing that the prices are staying down on a lot of the staples. Just also noting that the economy is expected to expand 3.5% this year, driven by increased exports, tourism and government support measures. So somebody was asking us the other day, how does Thailand make its money? How does the Thai economy work? So I actually put a link to a Wikipedia article which goes through all the different ways that Thailand does make its money. But looking to have an expanding economy of 3.5% this year, that is a number that a lot of Western countries would be drooling over if they could reach that. Instead, many of them are in recession. So whether that 3.5% number will be met, of course, is another thing. But at the moment, that at least remains the prediction. To the next story, also in the Bangkok Post, a bit of a Bangkok Post day today. Supreme Court orders Forestry Department to restore Maya Bay. There's a version of that story also on thaipbsworld.com. Now, the problem with this particular story is that it's just full of a whole lot of gobbledygook. I don't know who wrote it, but it was written for lawyers and not for readers. I tried to read it 2 or 3 times and I couldn't understand it at all. If you get a chance to read it, I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. But the thrust of the story is here, saying that the Supreme Court has ordered the Forestry Department to restore Maya Bay, which was environmentally damaged during the shooting of the famed Hollywood movie The Beach 24 years ago. Well, just a few things about that. Now, Koh Phi Phi is where Maya Bay is in the province of Krabi, and it's located halfway between Krabi and Phuket in Phang Nga Bay, and it's definitely worth a visit. But the damage done by the filming of that particular film, The Beach, back in 1999, is nothing compared to what 5,000 tourists every day were doing by trampling all over that beach. So perhaps they should be calling up all the people that have visited Maya Bay and fining them, and not perhaps going after the people who were involved with the decision to allow the beach to be filmed there. And that story suggesting that they're going after the Forestry Department, who organised the application for Maya Bay to be used as one of the features in the movie The Beach. And if you wanted to know what the beach looked like, well, because of copyright, I'm having to sort of draw your attention to the top left hand of the screen, and we've got some screenshots here from the movie as they arrive at Maya Bay as it was in 1999 when it was filmed. Leonardo DiCaprio there in his pre-dad bod days. And the rest of the cast wondering of the beauty of Maya Bay. And there were at the time some other palm trees and some landscaping done to make the beach look even better than it actually did. So the Supreme Court may indeed want to go after the Forestry Department, get the beach fixed back, but really those 5,000 tourists trampling around that little stretch of beach, as you can see, it's not a huge beach, did a lot more damage, including the boats offshore as well, throwing their anchors over the side and digging up all the coral. A lot more damage was inflicted by all those tourists, for which, of course, the Department of National Parks made a pretty penny. Let's go to our next story today, and this is about the decision of the Constitutional Court about the Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's 8-year tenure. And this story from The Nation, the headline, Constitutional Court to meet today to consider Prayut tenure case. And the story says, the first line there, the Constitutional Court judges are today, Wednesday, expected to begin deliberating on whether the suspended Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has exceeded his term limit. And the story goes through the background on some people who were involved in the drawing up of the original constitution in 2017. So you can have a read there in The Nation about what they're seeking to clarify. Down the bottom, though, today the court is expected to announce that it has enough evidence to make a decision on Prayut's tenure within the next 15 days. So we should know by the end of this month whether the Constitutional Court is going to exonerate Prayut or whether they're going to say, no, you've served your 8 years as Prime Minister, and that will get people scrambling through the Constitution, which was drawn up in 2017 to try and figure out what to do next. So more about that story coming up, of course. A story from coconuts.co, and good to see, by the way, that they are following up on this Myanmar story. I used to think that it was a very important story to follow up, given that Myanmar is next door to Thailand, and these human rights abuses are happening right next door to us here in Thailand. So the story by Coconuts Yangon at a session of the UN Human Rights Council, that would have been Monday, the head of a team set up to investigate rights abuses in Myanmar. They briefed the council on evidence indicating the military junta that took control of the country back in February 2021 had committed numerous crimes against humanity and war crimes. Now, this is an actual tweet saying that the head of the International Investigative Mechanism for Myanmar explained why the world cannot look away from what's happening in Myanmar some 18 months after the military takeover. And they've been documenting abuses by the junta government, particularly abuses affecting women and children, also noting that, this is the third paragraph, that there was evidence that the junta was executing prisoners without due process. And we reported that a couple of months ago, and they are executing people who have been campaigning or even fighting against the junta government. And noting that Facebook owner Meta has been accused of allowing its social media network to be used to spread misinformation and hate speech, particularly involving the Rohingya, fueling aspects of persecution and violence against the minority group. The company, this is Facebook, has admitted that its platform was used to incite such violence and pledged to take steps to prevent similar misuse in the future. And just noting that the investigators said that perpetrators of the most serious international crimes committed in Myanmar must know that we're united in our efforts to break the cycle of impunity and to ensure that those responsible for such crimes will face justice. An important story, and we'll do our best to try and just keep on top of exactly what's happening there with any milestones that you need to know about. To our next story, and this is a story about a missing man. It's been widely reported in quite a lot of media this morning. This one from Cowsod English in a Facebook post. German man missing in southern Thailand, and Superman Bangkok needs your help. A German national, Tim Possel, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, landed in Thailand August the 16th and last contacted his family in Germany on August the 20th before disappearing. And the original posting said that he's remarkably tall, 194 centimetres. His mother tongue is Finnish, but he's also fluent in standard German. And also the German embassy in Bangkok says he's not been arrested. So the question, who saw him when and where in Thailand? And this is what the particular gentleman looks like. So if you know anything about this particular gentleman, his whereabouts, or if you have seen him, so can you contact Superman Bangkok? That'll be a Facebook page. I'm sure they'd be delighted to hear from you as they try and find this young gentleman. Thank you very much for joining us today as we had a quick whip around of the main stories from Thailand and the region. Also I'd like to thank our sponsor, 5 Star Marine, and I'd like to thank you for dropping into my house as we had a quick look at today's news. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day.